just had a chance to catch up with Pastor Snead, and I want to ask him this question, and hope you got an answer. Why all the baptisms? I'm hearing you're 90 plus people that you baptized in 2 years. I've been here 13 years, and in the previous 11, maybe we did 10. Tell me something about that.
Well, that's, perplexes me too a bit at first. And when I first came here, I didn't know what I was going to do with Newstart. How am I going to put together 13 lectures and make it consistent? And then I just had an idea to take them through the simple gospel, the plan of salvation, steps to Christ, the first 8 chapters of Romans, and Acts chapter 2. And I break it down on something I call the wheel of faith. I draw this circle with this wheel and these pins on it, and I put each step was God's love, the sinner's need, coming to me, conviction, repentance, death to self, sanctification, flesh and the spirit battle. And I just take them through the gospel, and it's the gospel that's doing the work. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just presenting the simple plan of salvation. And that's where, now most of these have been, about 40 of them or 35 of them have probably been baptisms. They come here with a little Adventist knowledge, so they're easier, but it's the rebaptisms that is showing me of the revival aspect that this message is actually having on Adventists. And not to mention about 40 Bible studies that have come out of this of non-Adventists, that once they hear, oh, you Adventists really believe in the gospel, you really understand its ideas. We're not just a bunch of law keepers. Then they're more into wanting to take the doctrinal Bible studies, and that will have, fruit that some other pastor gets to reap. But for me, it's the gospel is a surprise at what it's doing here.
But I recently heard you're a public speaker, and you're being asked to various parts of the world, like the Caribbean, back east in Oklahoma, Idaho, GYC in December. What's happening here? The word's out on you.
Well, I think it's simple that Newstart is like seed, because the guests come here from all over the world, naturally. Yeah. And so when they see the wheel of faith and just a simple gospel presented, they go back to their home churches and they say, we want this presented at our church. So that's what's happening. Okay. I'm kind of getting, all over the place from different guests. You mentioned Idaho and Connecticut, and there's a few other places. They're all from Newstart. Even the Caribbean, the Dutch Caribbean, that was from a Newstart guest.
Damon, I know that you have a full-time job here at the Newstart program, and yet you find time to go out all over the world and preach and teach. How does that happen?
Well, fortunately for me, I know before my time here, there was so many sessions, just one after the next. But what's happened is there's about an 11-day period, 12 days in between sessions now, and that is just enough time for me to fly out, do an 11-part series. So I have the Friday, 2 sermons on Sabbath, the week in between, the Friday, 2 sermons on Sabbath, and in that time period, I have enough time to get the entire wheel of faith out and fly and get back home before the Sunday session starts again.
That's awesome.
So that's how I do it. And this message is beautiful that I can be flexible with it. I can expand it a little if there's more time, or I can contract it a little bit to fit various schedules. So it works really well.
So you're willing to do 3 days or 10 days?
I can do what people would like. I can give them the best of the best, and so it works well.
Friends, if you'd like Damon to come to speak to you, just call him at the following number and the email address that we'll put up. Thank you for watching.